Hello and welcome, or welcome back to Read Becca. This is going to be a rambly one, because a year in the making, unintentionally. And I did not put a year of effort into this, definitely. This was very spur of the moment, and all due to Lindy. So I will point you to Lindy's Magpie Reads down below, but really it's her fault I picked up this book, but it's also Past Me's fault, because last year, at exactly this time of year, I was prepping for Women in Translation Month, as I'm sure most of you are in progress with, and I was looking specifically for a book of translated poetry that had both the English and the original language. And I did find a very good collection to read. I read Resistencia, and so as a result, I was very overloaded with Women in Translation Month stuff, and I saw something that I really wanted to pick up. But I didn't pick it up because I had so many other things that were on the go. And I made that mental note, oh, I'll get back to that. Really, I will. So Lindy was discussing this book just a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that book sounds really interesting. I need to go check that out. And I get to the library and I'm looking for it because they had it at my local branch, and I was not seeing the copy that Lindy had. And finally, I had to look up the shelf location because I had overlooked so many times because I was looking for the specific copy that Lindy had. And in fact, it was the book that I saw last year and told myself I needed to pick up. As soon as I saw the very distinctive cover and gold edges on this, and that it's a very beautiful book, I knew this was the one I made a mental note to pick up and just never got back to. This is Live Oak with Moss. It's a collection of poetry by Walt Whitman, and it has illustrations by Brian Selznick. So I'm a huge fan of Selznick's work. He's a contemporary artist and author who primarily writes children's books. So this is a big departure from that, but it's very much in his style in terms of the illustrations here. He has written a number of historical fiction stories for children. Probably the most well-known is the one that was transformed into the movie Hugo, which was very artistically interesting on its own, but it was stunning as a 3D film. It was very, very detail-oriented, and the historical inspiration for the story was absolutely phenomenal. So I loved that one. I think The Marvels is my favorite of his work, though. And he's so innovative because he writes these really big chunky books for kids. They're usually like 600 pages, but they have whole sections that are actually told wordless through images. So they're not comic books. We're not talking about comic books. They actually have pages and pages, whole spreads that are just images, and they are telling you a story. They're giving forward movement of the story without words, and then it smoothly transitions back into text. So he's very innovative, and I love his work. And this is a collection of poems that apparently, we get the contextualizing information at the beginning, that he was friends with Maurice Sendak and had these conversations directly. And one time, this collection of poetry came up as these gay poems that Walt Whitman wrote and then redistributed into other work, but they were originally collected together. It's only 12 poems, so this is actually a very short collection. It's very easy to read in one sitting. I sat down and went through this twice since I've had it out from my library and really enjoyed it both times, going over the details. But the art from Selznick really enhances it because he does almost a direct illustration or an adaptation of the main key points of the text, and he captures the intimate relationships there. So I want to show you a little bit of the art first. So I think he has a stunning pencil art style where you can see here's the tree, and we're zooming into the tree and into this core that's hot, and then there's blue and ocean, and that turns to sky, and then city, and then men in the city, and then this very intimate moment between two men. And so he really captures that. There is adult content here, so I will avoid giving you any adult stuff, but just really stunning depiction of that in an indirect method as well. So there's no erotica to this, I would say, but it's just stunningly beautiful the way he transforms and translates this poetry. So what's so special about this, I think, other than it's just a beautiful package, obviously I really enjoy this, that it's embossed, it's got the gold edges, it has the artwork there, it has his introduction, as well it has an afterword that contains a whole lot of informational details about who Whitman was and what some of the terminology he's using here means. So because I'm not a big poetry reader or aficionado, this really helped with that. That's something I look for when I'm picking up poetry, is that they kind of have more of a package for the non-poetry reader who's not quite as able to pick up on the subtext. So this also, even more importantly, for me, I mean, this is a big draw for me, it has printouts of the original poems. So his handwritten work is all in here. So they were able to compile this original work that had previously been kind of cut up and redistributed and pull it back together and then give us this beautiful artistic translation of it. So what we're told in these poems is so intimate, and he talks about same-sex relationships as friends. They're a friend, but he doesn't mean in a platonic friendship way, and that's kind of explained in this contextualizing information. So I think that's probably the key one thing I would point out from that addendum on the afterword, because that is going to come up here when I read you a poem. But the arc of this is him talking about his feelings and seeing these natural elements. This is very much, I would say, nature poetry, which is something I tend to gravitate toward in the poetry sphere. And he talks about seeing the oak and feeling sad that it's standing alone. He felt a connection to the natural world, but now he has withdrawn away from that. He felt a connection to the countryside, but he's now drawn away from that. He felt a connection to people from all other countries. He talks about having that human connection, but now not being able to love others in that way anymore, because he and the man he loves, that love is so much more, it's so much more powerful, that they are a country of their own. And so he has withdrawn from all the things that he thought were passion before, because that pales in the comparison of this person that he loves. So it's really powerful in its brevity, and I think it really gets that point across of this fiery passion. So I just want to quickly read one of the poems in the middle. As I said, just a couple, so I will leave you with the poem. Long I thought that knowledge alone would suffice me. Oh, if I could but obtain knowledge! Then my lands engrossed me. For them I would live, I would be their orator. Then I met the examples of old and new heroes. I heard the examples of warriors, sailors, and all dauntless persons. And it seemed to me I too had it in me to be as dauntless as any, and would be so. And then, to finish it all, it came to me to strike up the songs of the new world, and then I believed my life must be spent in singing. But now, take notice, land of the prairies, land of the South Savannas, Ohio's land. Take notice, you Canuck Woods, and you, Lake Huron, and all that with you roll toward Niagara, and you, Niagara also, and you, California mountains, that you all find someone else, that he be your singer of songs. For I can be your singer of songs no longer. I have passed ahead. I have ceased to enjoy them. I have found him who loves me, as I him, in perfect love. With the rest I dispense. I sever from all that I thought would suffice me, for it does not. It is now empty and tasteless to me. I heed knowledge and the grandeur of the states, and the examples of heroes no more. I am indifferent to my own songs. I am to go with him I love, and he is to go with me. It is to be enough for each of us that we are together. We never separate again. So that is Live Oak with Moss.